The situation we had was a large multi-hospital health system that 8 months into its fiscal year had a large gap between its profit targets and its actual performance. It was about $40 million. And as I was talking to the chief operating officer of this system, she was sharing with me her disappointment. She said, "I've never missed a financial target, and we're going to miss this one." She believed it. And I asked her a question, and the first question I asked her was, "Why are you tolerating that?" She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you've just told me that you're $40 million off your financial target. You've got 4 months to go. Why are you tolerating that?" And she said, "Well, to get from here to there in 4 months is impossible." I said, "That's your story. And I suspect that you're stuck in your story." And she said, "Well, how do I get unstuck?" I said, "Well, let's try this question on for size. If the impossible were possible, what would you do?" She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, you said this is impossible, but if the impossible were possible, what would you do?" She said, "Well, we'd close the gap. We'd hit our target." I said, "Right. Well, how would you do that?" She said, "Well, I couldn't do it by myself. I would have to involve probably the CEOs, the COOs, the CFOs of my various hospitals and help them figure out ways to close the gap." "Okay, and how would you do that?" She said, "Well, I'd invite them to a meeting." I said, "All right, and when would you have that meeting?" "Well, I'd need to have it soon." "Well, like how soon?" "Well, like next week." "Okay, could you do that?" "Well, yeah, if I call a meeting, they'll come." Call the meeting. And she looked at me and she said, "Oh my gosh, I have been tolerating this." I said, "Yes, you have. You've been stopping yourself." Well, the results of this were they did have the meeting. They did identify the actions. They did close the gap. Not only did they close the gap that year, but each year since, they've had record financial performance. So if you find yourself stuck in your own story, if you find yourself tolerating something, ask yourself, why am I tolerating that? And oftentimes it's because we believe the solution is impossible. But if the solution is impossible, just ask yourself the question, if the impossible were possible, what would I do? And then go do it.